Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Dreams Unveiled. Today, we are not talking about a particular person's dreams. We're actually going to be doing a few segments on common dream symbolism and its meaning. Mm-hmm. So, this should be really interesting.
A little bit different,
to me. You know, I think the more people learn about their dreams, the healthier they could be when they're awake.
Right. The more of understanding of themselves.
That's right. So these are common and they're universal. In other words, these typical things, we're going to talk about 4 of them today. Dream symbolism, symbols, or archetypes as they're sometimes called.
Like themes.
Yep, themes. They are universal. They happen all over regardless of where you live or what you're dealing with. And I think this is a cool thing to look at. So at the very least, if you've never seen another video, if you watch these, and I think there'll be 3 of them, this will be the first. If you watch these, then you'll at least be able to say, oh, when this happens, it means this.
Yeah, good like dictionary, if you will.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think I want to make this little disclaimer. All of the symbolism in your dream is very dependent, once again, on the context that it's in the dream, even if it's weird and it doesn't make sense. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And it's also very important to remember when you wake up from a dream, write it down, say it in your phone. Even if it's not spelled well, get enough of it out there that you remember, because your dreams really can help you.
Yeah.
And I think a good example of that is the previous dream that we did last week, where we talked about the young woman that moved across the country and was
the contact in her eye.
That's right.
Yeah,
And
the baby contact.
And I think understanding some of the actual symbolism and how much it meant. You're going to be okay. You're going to be able to do this, but right now you're too new, but don't be too overwhelmed. Don't take on that energy. You've got this.
Motivational.
That's right. I think knowing that, what if she didn't understand how overwhelming being in that situation was?
Right. She could have messed it all up.
And so I think that having that dream really put things in perspective for her so that she could really move forward in that situation in an effective way.
Yeah.
So and some of the things you're going to find that we're going to talk about are really very helpful and good to know.
Yeah. So where do we want to start?
I think probably the most universal. No, let's not go that way. Let's go with probably the most fun one. Okay. And I'll share why it's fun. Cheating. Dreaming that your spouse or you're being cheated on. That's typically the dream.
Waking up hot and heated.
Waking up, pretty angry. I actually have counseled people that have called me like an emergency because their spouse
cheated on them
in a dream. And so in their mind, this really is that they're cheating on them. And it really created all kinds of havoc. And they wouldn't talk to the person. They were fighting. It was awful. I mean, I've actually had that happen with people.
So funny how our minds can spiral.
Yeah. And it's so funny. It's not uncommon for people to have a dream that their spouse cheated or girlfriend, boyfriend cheated, and for them to be upset with them.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. The dream doesn't mean they cheated on you. Because the dream's not about them. The dream is about you.
About the dreamer.
That's right. And so it's really about her feelings and thoughts or his feelings and thoughts in the dream. And so the first thing I will bring up in that, if you dream that somebody has cheated on you, one of the first things you can recognize in that is insecurity.
Yeah.
It is a pretty telltale sign of you feeling insecure in a particular relationship. And you can have a dream about somebody cheating on you even if you're not intimately involved with them.
Right.
Just like rape is more about power
than being the act of rape. Right.
That's right. Cheating is more about, certainly there's elements of betrayal and different things. But I think trust is probably the biggest. So insecurity, trust, and working through a betrayal of some kind. Those are 3 probably biggest themes.
Yeah, it's
So-
more like an inside thing of the person rather than that person.
That's right. So rest assured, I'm not saying the person you're with isn't cheating on you.
We don't know.
We don't want them to be.
Right.
I'm a big fan of healthy, great relationships and connections, but this is more about your internal feelings about that particular relationship. And trust is really a big thing. Mm-hmm. So, and it may not be, and this is important, it might not have anything to do with trusting the actual person you're in the relationship with, that you're having the dream about who cheated on you. It could be old trust issues. Maybe you just generically have, you've had some trauma, you've had some issues in your past, and you struggle to trust people. You may be in a great relationship, especially if it's a great relationship.
Right, your mind's bringing it back. Just kind of, sometimes I feel like trauma comes in when you don't want it.
Well,
just kind of creeps in on you.
When things are really going good, we do have a tendency to be concerned that when's the bottom going to drop.
Right. Right. Always kind of like, shielding yourself or
That's
just
right.
like waiting for it.
Yeah, and so it's really kind of a thing. So trust issues are number one. We're being very generic about this because we're not really talking about any particular dreams.
Right.
But obviously, everything else in the dream is going to matter. What's going on in your waking life at the time of the dream is going to matter. Mm-hmm. It could be a reoccurring dream, in which case this is probably some old stuff that is not being resolved and not being dealt with. So I think all of that's important. Another option is fear of abandonment.
Yeah.
I mean, if you feel people are cheating on you, and cheating typically not always, it does not heal. The relationship often ends up not being healed from that.
Right.
That it may be triggering some fears of being abandoned or being left alone.
Yeah.
So even in the dream, a lot of the dreams, it could be that you're together with this person, and then that person goes off and leaves you, and you know that they're doing something, and so in the dream you actually feel abandoned
right.
in that. So that really could be a big thing, and I think that insecurity or doubting yourself is probably
a huge thing
I think it's
too.
probably the most common. That insecurity and trust are by far the most common reasons to have that.
Yeah.
And you may be having the dreams that it's time to make a change, right? It really is time to make a change. We're all insecure. Every human being's insecure about something or some things. I don't care who you are or what you do.
Right.
We have insecurities. But when they have that kind of power in our life that they invade our dreams, and we're dreaming about people cheating on us, or you're in a relationship, a marriage for like 20 years, and you have these periodic dreams of being cheated on, it is an insecurity. And you need to understand why.
Right, you need to resolve something that's going on or that went on.
That's right. And it may not, it's really important, and I already said this, but I'm going to say this again. You can wake up and be mad at your spouse, but it may not have anything to do with that person. It may have something to do with somebody at work that had
right.
nothing to do. This is not a sexual thing at all.
Right, it doesn't have to be your partner.
That's right.
Right, it could be a friend, but it just manifests into your spouse.
So, and I do want to say, this does not mean that you can't have a dream that your spouse cheated on you because 4 weeks ago they cheated on you, right?
That would kind of also...
That could really, that can happen, but almost always, this is really about your insecurity. You'll know by the dream content. And if you're not sure, send the dream to us. We'll tell you how it is.
We'll let you know.
We're pretty good at that. So I think that really is a big thing. The final things to consider. See, this is all, there's so much context to
right,
this.
so you really have to know what's going on in your day life to know what's going on in your sleep life.
It could be symbolic of lacking intimacy or connection. And think about it, someone is cheating on you, they're taking from you what belongs to you, kind of.
Right.
And so that could very well be, not that they're actual cheating, it just, that would be a brain, that would be
feeling,
symbolism.
right. Yeah.
That could do that. And you could have guilt. And you could have guilt. It has nothing to do with the intimacy in the relationship. You could have guilt about, like, let's say you're feeling guilty about like hiding information from your spouse or doing something like that. You may dream that they are cheating on you.
But it was really you hiding something.
That's right. It's your own guilt. And it could be just like how much money you spent at the mall. It doesn't even have to have any relationship. Once again, what's going on in your waking life and what's the context. So that, I think, pretty much sums up
being cheated on.
Being cheated on. I think we've really covered every single base.
Oh, yeah, for sure on that one. I like that it's not, sometimes like the very obvious things,
right.
know.
So don't go and attack your spouse or significant other.
Take a few deep breaths and know it's all a dream.
and it probably has nothing at all to do with
your spouse cheating on you.
That's right, or any kind of sexual intimacy. So that's that.
So Daun, which one are we going to be talking about next?
I think probably, and this I think is the most common universal symbolism in a dream. Falling. Falling is such a big deal. If I could say a show of hands, how many people watching have had falling dreams? Yep, more than once.
Yeah.
I had a weird dream. I was really young. I was like, and I was a kid, a teenager. I was on the moon, and I'm walking around, and it's just so barren and empty. And I come to the edge of the moon, and all of a sudden, the earth, the dry earth, just. That's weird calling dirt earth on the moon. Yeah. Anyway, it gave way and broke, and I fell.
Off the moon?
Yeah, but I fell onto a lower part. I fell like 4 feet. But anyway, it was so weird.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, well, we all have these dreams.
Yeah, I've had a dream where, like, I fell off, like, a building, but, like, during, like, while I was falling, I knew I was falling, so I, like, tried to, like,
yes,
fly and, like, move, but I couldn't.
So, Melissa... you know what? Did we even open up and introduce ourselves?
Oh, no.
Oh, Melissa Salazar, Daun Whittaker. Melissa has a tendency to have the ability to lucid dream pretty easily, and a lot of people don't. I did do a couple of episodes, Bill and I did, on lucid dreaming that can help you to grow that ability, which I encourage you to do.
Yeah.
So, but she that comes pretty naturally to her. So that's
it's pretty
cool.
fun. It's pretty fun. I
Lucid
like it.
dreaming is not in a wake or sleep state. It's pretty cool phenomenon.
Yeah.
But you can do a lot of healing in there.
Yeah.
Especially with
I honestly go
stuff.
vacation in there.
I
like
know.
look up Airbnbs and I just study it, I read about it, and then I go to dream and I dream about it, and I'm there.
So it also goes to show Melissa's probably highly suggestive. Yeah. So if we ever want to try hypnotism, make her cluck like a chicken, we might be able to actually do that. Yeah? How about that? So falling in a dream. And I want you to think how obvious this stuff is. This is obvious if you think about it. A loss of control.
Right. Your arms are flailing. You have no stops.
Yeah, typically when you're falling, you have no control. And I'm going to, always when you're falling, unless you're on a bungee cord or stuff. But
but even then, you still can't like make yourself spring back when you want to spring back.
There was a skydiver who is actually, he does a photojournalist, and he would skydive along with people and get the in the air pictures. And he had done a dozen jumps. And there was a picture circulating the internet at one point of him falling and realizing he forgot to put a parachute on.
Oh.
Right? See how that makes you feel?
Yeah.
And that's why I brought it up, because no control, that loss of control, the inevitability of death.
So what happened? Did he die?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Dang, I was hoping it was going to be a little...
I know. No,
maybe...
it's not that kind of story. I'm sorry. But I it's a great illustration. I'm just in that moment hearing that story made you feel like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Right? That really is. This is a universal, and the biggest thing that it represents is loss of control. You don't feel you're in control. Could be situations, could be your day-to-day, a specific thing going on in your life.
Work, life, anything.
Yep, not in control. So I recently was counseling somebody who is going through a lot of court stuff, trying to get his son back, all of this kind of thing, and had a couple of falling dreams throughout that process, because he was just at the mercy of everybody, and he'd go to court and they'd adjourn it, and it just was taking longer and longer.
Yeah, that's definitely a feeling of loss of control.
It is, absolutely. Insecurity. And it's no wonder that these things are common themes, because probably one of the most predominant negative feeling that we experience is anxiety in our dream. our fear response, the amygdala, is alive and well in your dream. It's awake, that part of the brain. So that's our emotional center. And so a lot of anxiety, fear, that kind of thing is going to manifest in dreams.
Yeah.
Especially if we're not dealing with it in a healthy way
Right.
in our waking life. So fear of failure.
I feel like that is right along with it too.
Absolutely.
You know? Falling, failing,
That's right.
you know.
Wow, they're one letter away from each
Right,
other now.
but so close.
So, but that really is a big thing if you are working at something and you're failing, or you own a business and the business is falling apart, or anything like that. That falling, that feeling like you're free falling, and
correlated,
can't,
yep.
and you're looking down below at the ground. I mean, think about that. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense that your subconscious would present that way. Feeling unsupported.
Same
Another
thing,
way
yeah.
to feel that there's no control over a situation. So
There's no walls to grab onto. Normally you're just falling.
that's
so
right. So
there's no
that's
support.
that is a big deal. And here's a theme, but once again, this one is not a theme. This would require context. Is the idea of being pushed, falling because you've been pushed, and that could be all of these things, but involving peer pressure.
Yeah.
Or some type of pressure to conform to something, or feeling pressured. So, and it implies that it's by someone or something.
Yeah. But still feeling of uncontrol. You can't do it because everyone's pressuring you to do it. So what are you supposed to do?
That's right. It could be something as simple as needing a check on things. That, sometimes we deceive ourselves. We just deceive ourselves. I actually, we were talking at a Bible study once, and I'm like, has anyone ever deceived themselves? And everybody raised their hand. I said, well, how easy is it to be deceived by the enemy then, right?
Right.
It's kind of a significant thing. So in your waking life, if you are acting like everything's pie in the sky, everything's great and okay, and you start having these falling dreams, it may be, hey, examine what's going on.
Right, you're not okay.
You may be operating in a little too much avoidance and not paying attention to things.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big thing. And I would say the number one reason that we fall in dreams is a hypnic jerk. And they're fun. I'm sorry. So fun. So
the little shake.
We all have that where we're like, ugh, and like, yeah.
Right. I feel my fiance do that all the time, and I'm like, oh, dang. So it scares me.
But if he's having them a lot, that really may mean that there's some issues with his sleep cycle.
Oh no, for sure. He wakes up 3 a.m. every day and doesn't go to sleep till maybe 12.
Yeah, no, that could be
sleep.
that could really be because when this is when we start dozing, and it's called the hypnagogic state. And basically, what it is between awake and sleeping. It's the actual in between place.
Yeah. Say that 3 times fast.
I know. Okay. I have trouble saying it 1 time slow. What are you talking about?
Oh.
But yes, hypnic jerks, and it's a pretty common phenomenon. Nothing to be concerned about. So the other falling thing that is really interesting. It really isn't a reason why we would fall in a dream, but sometimes when you are falling, and especially if you see the ground below and it's inevitable that you're going to hit it, one of the things that can happen in that you go through this rapid awake process.
Yeah.
It's like your brain knows.
You never hit the ground. You just always wake up before.
You just wake up before you hit the ground. And so in your brain knows so much. That sounded so obvious and stupid, but it really recognizes that could really be very harmful. So a lot of times, even when we dream of dying, a lot of times we wake up before, but we know it's inevitable.
Right. You play it in your head. You know it is, but it never really happened.
Yeah. And sometimes it actually does.
Yeah.
But for the most part, your subconscious knows that that's something you maybe not be able to handle. And it just takes a little different direction. So it's a rapid awake state, and you literally transfer from being in this sleep state, and boom, wide awake. And it is a common phenomenon. It's something that we go through. It's just all about that transition period.
Yeah, and everything is in context. So, like, you know, all of these can be, like, picked out on, like, which one works for you for your dream.
That's right. And for what is going on in your life at the time. So I think that really is a big thing. So let's talk about number 3. And we talked about it just a little bit in the falling.
Yeah.
Is death. Dreaming of death.
Yes.
You know, when I was young, I had one of the most scariest dreams about dying. And I think it was by gunshot, actually. So for our third universal, very common dream symbol, death.
Dun, dun, dun.
That's right, death. Death is such a common dream symbol. And for the most part, if you dream about death, it's a great thing.
Yeah.
Death could be a part of you that needs to go bye-bye, goes bye-bye, right? It could be past behavior, and you dream you've died, or and it could be a part of you that just needed to go, that was no longer functional, no longer adaptive.
Serving you.
That's right. It may have been interfering with connections with other people. So death typically represents a big change or transition in your life. You know, the old is going away and the new is coming. So I usually look at death dreams after I get over the fear of whatever has happened, because it's still jarring and it's still
scary.
frightening.
Yeah, it still feels scary
in the dream. And so, but if you have this knowledge that it almost always is a pretty cool thing going on,
it makes it less scary.
It does. And you could really delve into that and say, oh, this is about that I took on this.
Or that I don't do anymore. Or...
That's right. Because so I love death dreams. I really do. Watch me have one tonight. I'm not going to like it so much. No.
Knowledge is power. You know what it is, Daun. You know what it is.
So in general, personal transformation, big change.
Yeah.
And once again, the dream symbolism can still be death, but the other things happening in the dream may indicate whether it's a positive or a negative change. I mean, you may have a death dream after a marriage resolves or ends.
Yeah.
So it's really important to have that understanding that there's context with all of this. Mm-hmm. But new beginnings, I love new beginnings. I love New Year's. I love New Year's resolutions.
Yeah, and the idea of something like dying and you becoming new, it's great.
It is great.
It's great.
And I will say, New Year's resolutions, just so everybody knows, it takes up to 21 days. We all hear this, to create new neural pathways. They say to make a lifestyle change, but that's not really true. It takes about 43 days on top of it to practice that. Mm-hmm. And sometimes this could be a lot quicker. It depends on the consistency. But think about that. You're looking at about 2 months. Like if you're exercising, you better stay on that consistently for a couple of months.
To see anything.
And what's going to happen, how that works, is that it may mean then if you have to go a few days without doing it, you can get right back into it because you're moving toward that being your typical state.
Right.
So I think that's why a lot of people aren't successful with the resolutions.
Right, because they don't stick it out long enough to start a habit.
That's right, because we really need the muscle memory. We really need the practice. Practice is not just for sports and musical stuff. It is for everything that we're doing. So I think that, so death in that way, wonderful. Anxiety. And obvious loss. I mean, it is okay to have a dream about death and somebody has died.
Right. I mean, I would say that's pretty common.
Yeah. And sometimes it could be
grief,
Sometimes it could be a dream about the person who died.
Right.
That's not an uncommon thing. So death certainly can be in that context. I think if you had a dream like that, it's not that hard to figure out that's what it is.
Right.
And I think that's really kind of a big deal. And the grief too. When you consider death could result in loss. We're still talking a significant transition or change, right? A personal transformation of some kind. Like I said, it doesn't always have to be good. Loss is not necessarily, a great thing. And sometimes it is, depending on what you're losing and who you're losing. But you have to understand the other symbolism and what's going on in your life. And I will once again say, if you have a dream about any of these that involve any of these common archetypes or symbols, send it to my email, dreams@daunw.com. That's dreams@daunw.com. We'll help you out with that.
Yeah, we'll help you analyze it and figure out what type of death or loss or whatever you're going through.
Or even how to deal with the personal transformation of it, or how to deal with the change that you're going through.
Yeah.
So to recognize it doesn't mean you're going to die.
Right. So now does death mean something different in like illnesses?
Well, I think, and that's interesting because I think if people, and I've had dreams like that where I've died of something.
Yeah.
There could be, first of all, everything we dream about, unless it's a spiritual dream, everything we really dream about is in our mind somewhere. Okay? So if you are dreaming about an illness, it may be because you are aware somewhere that you have this thing wrong with you, right? What the dream of death does to a lot of that is makes you aware. It's your mind trying to make you aware that this needs to be addressed. So it doesn't mean that you're dreaming you're going to die from a particular illness. It could, but then you would have some knowledge of that somewhere, even if it's in your subconscious and you're not aware. It means that it's a call to arms. You need to take better care of yourself. You need to go see a doctor. You need to get this addressed. Yeah. That's really what that would mean.
I like that because it's like, you do have different types of deaths in your dreams.
That's right. Absolutely.
So dying from an illness that was a great insight. Great insight.
Yeah, and I think it's really a good, it may be scary to know that there's something wrong with you, but it really could be you've had this sinus infection for like ever, and you're not and you need some antibiotics, but you don't want to go to the doctor, and the dream's like, you need to take care of this.
Right. Come on.
So it doesn't necessarily mean it's a life-threatening. It just means your subconscious mind is aware that you need to make a change. You need to change and address whatever that is.
Yeah.
And it could be exercise. It could be if you have a fatty liver to eat differently. It could be anything.
Yeah.
It could be a recognition in your whole self that you can't continue to go on the way that you are.
Right.
So that is pretty much all about death in a dream.
All right.
So our final of this episode, common dream symbol or archetype is being chased. Being chased. If you've ever had a dream, how about those dreams where you're being chased and you're running and you can't go anywhere? Isn't that the worst?
Yeah, or like you literally are on like a treadmill.
I
you
know.
feel like you're just like running and they're still behind you.
So that, you know what? On my death, I said I had that dream of death and I got shot. I was on a train and I got shot. It's crazy. I do remember that a little bit. So this is your common anxiety dream. If somebody in counseling is sharing, oh my gosh, I had this dream. As soon as they say they're being chased, and I'm like, okay,
overwhelmed,
let's look at this anxiety.
Yeah.
Because this is really anxiety, almost exclusively. I would say most of them. And I noticed you've probably seen that there is an anxiety theme through almost everything we've talked about here.
Yeah.
Because it is the most common experience in a dream is that anxiety is that kind of motive
for
in the
all
dream.
of our dreams. Yeah.
It's usually needing to resolve it, needing to not avoid it. Avoidance makes anxiety worse. I probably said that before in this podcast, but do not avoid what makes you anxious. So if you do, you are going to find that you're getting anxious about things that have never made you anxious before.
Right. It's just like an anxious salad. It just keeps going.
That's right.
It keeps adding little pieces to it.
So this is your subconscious mind saying, hey, we got to deal with this. We got to deal with this. You're afraid of this. You're running
Right.
away from
You're
this.
literally running away
And
from
that's the
this.
avoidance piece. I think that's why, you're running in fear. You're running away. Mm-hmm. And I remember when I was a kid, and I had a lot of anxiety as a kid. I had a dream that I was at, it almost looked like a big Gothic church. And I'm inside, and there are witches on broomsticks chasing me. And scary. They were really scary.
Yeah.
And I remember hiding under a stone bench in this like medieval church.
Yeah.
And then the dream ended. Dreams do tend to end if it gets to be too much for yourself to be able to handle it and process it healthily.
So avoidance. You've also mentioned anxiety and stress. What else would be another?
For running away, well,
Being chased. Yeah.
I would say if you have unresolved trauma, but that really speaks to the anxiety piece of it for sure. But what it may be is something that you have not. When I say unresolved, it's things that you have not processed
Or like faced.
So that's a really because the avoidance piece is so big with the chase dreams. Mm-hmm. Just the act of running away is you're avoiding.
Right.
It's really important, especially trauma. You may not even have, you may have pushed that down, not really dealt with it, and you're going to have these dreams. These are very common, reoccurring dreams, so you have to be very aware of that.
Yeah.
So I think that's what we got for today.
Yeah, I think we went over some good bases. We are going to have a part 2.
Yep, and maybe a part 3. We'll see.
Yeah.
But thank you for tuning in to this episode of Dreams Unveiled.
Like and subscribe.
Also,
send us your dreams. We'd love to know what's going on in your day life and your sleep life.
And you can either go to www.daun.com and you'll see the Dreams Unveiled link, and you can actually do a PDF fillable form and send your dream that way. Or you can email it to me at dreams@daunw.com, Daun with a U. And if you do that, please give me information about what's going on in your life at the time. I'll still probably end up calling you or talking to you about it, so we have the most accurate analysis that we can have.
Yeah.
So, all right. Thank you, guys.
And sweet dreams.
Sweet dreams.